Hey guys, it's Amon
And Christina
from Our Rich Journey. On today's video, Christina and I want to talk about financial dependence. Now, we usually talk about what it's like to be financially independent and all of the powers involved with that. But since being financially independent is actually a very, very rare thing, we want to approach it from a different standpoint. We want to talk about it from the aspect of people having financial dependencies and how these financial dependencies can control your life. They can determine where you live, how much time you spend with your friends and family. You see, when Christina and I talk about all of the great things that come along with financial independence, at the heart of it, we are talking about freedom. So for anyone that is financially dependent, we are going to talk about some of the things that you can do to actually free yourself from those dependencies.
So let's begin by first defining what we mean by financial dependence. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about someone who relies on something or someone for financial support. Now, Aman and I were in that same position before we reached financial independence. We were dependent on someone or something for that financial support. So this financial support could come in many different areas. It could come from your job, it could come from a partner or a spouse or a family member, even from credit card debt. So what we want to do in today's video is we want to talk about 4 different common types of financial dependency, and we also want to walk you through different ways to get out of those financial dependencies.
Now, I think what's going to be so interesting is that most people don't see these as financial dependencies. They just see them as a way of life. But in reality, you are reliant on these things to get financial support. So they are, in fact, financial dependencies. And so let's start with the first one. The first one that the majority of people have, and it is their job. If you are working a 9-to-5 job and that job is your only source of income, you are financially dependent on that job. You see, you rely on your job for food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, all of the things to live life. And if you should lose that job, you would lose all of those things that hold your life together. And so the first thing you should be thinking about when you're talking about becoming financially independent is becoming less dependent on just your 9-to-5. And so let's talk about how exactly you do that.
So the number one way you become less dependent on your 9-to-5 is to create multiple sources of income. Now you can do this by creating side hustles. You can also do this by investing in things like the stock market or real estate or your own business. On our FIRE journey, we had so many different sources of income. We were investing in real estate, in the stock market, and we also were getting super creative with all of the different side hustles that we started. This allowed us to become less reliant on our 9-to-5 jobs because we had multiple sources of income coming in. Now, one of the things that we really loved about having these multiple sources of income was first, of course, we're not as dependent on our 9-to-5 job. But the second thing was that it helped expedite our FIRE journey. With all of these multiple sources of income coming in, it allowed us to invest even more money, and that allowed us to reach financial independence and retire early even sooner.
But there's one other thing that Christina glazes over a bit. When you have your own money outside of your 9-to-5, you don't feel like your 9-to-5 is running your entire life. You have the leverage and the freedom to make decisions that maybe go counter to what your 9-to-5 wants you to do. For example, you can stand up for yourself with much more confidence. A lot of people are taken advantage by their jobs because they have no other say-so. They have no other way of saying no to that job because they're afraid if they lose that job, they will lose everything that comes along with it.
The next form of financial dependence is in a relationship.
That's a good one.
Now, this can be with your partner, it can be with your spouse, but the idea is that you're giving up all of your financial decisions to another person in your relationship. Now, sometimes this happens willingly. Maybe you're someone that hates making financial decisions. You don't know about investing in the stock market, you don't like to budget, you don't want to deal with money, and so you hand over all of those decisions to your partner or your spouse. spouse. And in other cases, sometimes it happens unwillingly. If you are in an unhealthy relationship, your partner or spouse may use your finances as a way to control you.
So, under both conditions, if you are removed from the financial decision making, the person that is making those decisions for you, you are dependent on them to make those decisions. You see, they will determine when the money is spent, how much money you get, how you guys save, how you invest. You are completely removed from that situation. And because you are not involved, you are dependent on them to make all of the decisions. Now, how you overcome this dependency depends on your situation. If you have willingly given up control to be involved in the finances, you can start to get that control back by starting to get involved, by starting to educate yourself.
Now, on the other hand, if you are in an unhealthy relationship and someone is using finances to control you, the first key is to identify what is happening. And the second thing is looking for a way to get out of that unhealthy relationship by seeking the support of others. Now, this can be from friends or family members, but there are also a lot of different organizations that provide support to people like you in your situation.
Now, financial dependency on a partner is very common because it's very common for one partner to make more money than the other. But it doesn't mean that because one is making more than the other, that they should be in control of your relationship. And so what we're talking about when it comes to this particular dependency is we're talking about equity. Both people being on the same level playing field and being involved in the decisions that benefit the both of you.
And this is really important because you have to think long term. What happens if you have a partner or a spouse that is making all of the financial decisions and something happens to that person where they can no longer make those decisions? Maybe they pass away, they become disabled, something happens where they are no longer able to make decisions, and then you are thrust into this position where you have to make all of the financial decisions. If you have this equity, like Aman said, if you are building up your financial portfolio together and both of you are on the same level playing field when it comes to making financial decisions, that would make you in a much better situation in the long run. The next form of financial dependency is through a financial advisor. Now, what we're talking about here is when you use a financial advisor and you give over all of the financial decision making to this person. Now, if you've watched our channel, you know that Aman and I do not use financial advisors for a variety of reasons. The number one reason is that we like to DIY. We like to self-educate ourselves so that we feel comfortable with the decisions that we're making about our money. But if you're interested in learning all of the other reasons why we don't use a financial advisor, we'll leave a link for the video that we made in the description below. So now, even though it's our preference not to use a financial advisor, we know that many of you do use a financial advisor, and that is also okay. The problem becomes when you use this financial advisor and you are completely cut off from any decisions related to your finances. So a situation like this would be where you get money coming in, it automatically goes to your financial advisor makes decisions without discussing anything with you, and everything happens in the background. You have no understanding of what is going on with your money. This is a huge form of financial dependency.
And this is a huge problem if you don't have the financial literacy to really understand what your financial advisor is doing for you. You see, you've heard stories of athletes and actors being taken full advantage of by their financial advisors. Well, this happens to everyday people that have conceded that power to their financial advisor. And there are so many people that have reached out to us after they have gained this financial literacy and looked at what their financial advisor was investing in for them or charging them as far as fees, and they were shocked. If they hadn't gotten that financial literacy soon enough, they would have spent their entire life relying on a financial advisor that was taking advantage of them.
So that's really the key to overcoming this dependency. It is financial literacy. It's really understanding the different types of investments that you can make and how to grow your money. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you have to completely eliminate your financial advisor, but becoming financially literate allows you to communicate properly with your financial advisor so that you know the right questions to ask, so that you know how to review your portfolio, so that you understand the investments that your financial financial advisor is suggesting. All of these things are very important so that you don't continue to develop this dependency that you might have on your financial advisor. Now, if you are interested in learning more about investing in the stock market and really getting that financial literacy that you may not have right now, we actually have a stock market investing course. In that course, it helps you develop your own stock market investing plan, and you also see our stock market investing plan and all of the investments that we make. So if you're interested in our stock market investing course, we will leave a link in the description below, or you can also visit our website at ourrichjourney.com. And the last form of financial dependency is debt. Now, a lot of people use debt because they either have a spending problem, meaning they spend too much money, or they have an income problem, meaning that they're not generating enough income. But whatever reason that this is, financial dependency on debt can create a lot of problems. If you are using debt each month to cover your bills and your monthly expenses, you are living beyond your means. This means that you're not able to save enough. This means that you're not able to invest enough. It keeps you stagnant, and in some cases, it can actually be moving you backwards.
Now, debt dependency is a huge problem with a lot of people, but it's something that you can overcome. Unfortunately, the way to overcome debt is with the good old-fashioned way of paying it down. That means you have to find a way to spend less and generate more income to pay off that debt. And then once that debt is completely gone, you will find that the freedom that you have is amazing, because no longer is your extra money going towards debt. You can start to use that money to invest for financial independence. And that is the real power of not being dependent on debt.
And for those of you that are struggling with debt and really need to get in the proper mindset, we recommend finding people that have paid off debt, large amounts of debt. They're all over on social media, on YouTube. They walk you through what they have done, and they may give you insight into what you can do as well. And this is really big because paying off debt, you need to be in the proper mindset. You have to really understand that you can do it. And so when you can see other people that have done it as well and possibly follow in their footsteps, that may give you the motivation to really take charge of your debt and to pay it off.
So those are the 4 major financial dependencies that could be keeping you from financial independence. As you start to conquer these dependencies, as you start to drop them, you become closer to the ultimate personal finance goal of financial independence. And you can join a very rare group of people that are living life on their terms. And so we hope this video has inspired you to conquer these dependencies and move forward. And so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.